This is Jonathan Ferguson, the Keeper of Firearms and Artillery at the Royal Armouries Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons from throughout history. And I'm your host, Dave Jewett, and today we're heading to Atoma Prime with our Skitarii cohort and breaking down some of the weapons of Darktide. It's implied that the capacitors were charged like millennia ago, and they're very careful to keep a charge in that weapon because it's revered.
It's not so revered that we can't hit things in the face with it.
Well, no, it's a machine god's will. Our extended edition of this episode is an even deeper dive into the weapons of Darktide and features a couple of extra firearms too. Link in the description below if you want to check that out. But without further ado, it's over to Jonathan. This is the new class for Darktide, the Skitarii.
Ah, okay. Yeah. See, sometimes when you tip me off to what I might be picking up, it can, I don't know, maybe this, maybe that, but this is pretty clear. So as well as the receiver architecture, the way it's open with this and the rear sight's very prominent, the adjustment knob, even the muzzle as well. Where we have this is a gas trap. An early gas trap Garand. The way the muzzle protrudes just ahead of the gas tube below is also represented. So it's pretty abstract, but cocking handle, although it's on the wrong side, or arguably the right side, the correct side is similar. The clips, the ping. I said clip. What is that? Is that meant to be a clip of rounds? I wasn't paying full attention to what went in.
Yeah, so they do feature an on-block style clip, but it pings. It doesn't ping when it's finished. It pings when
on the way in.
Pings on the way in.
Yeah, so if I just saw this model, I would have thought if I did think that the glowing cylindrical thing was like an energy magazine, but it's not. It's conventional rounds. In fact, it might even be an eight round clip, isn't it?
It is an 8-round on-block clip that gets inserted. Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, I appreciate the idea that they stick to old designs. We see this in reality a lot, usually through necessity rather than tradition. Although obviously parade is a different thing, ceremony, different thing. What's breaking my brain slightly is how do you get to Mars with M1 Garands to then get replicated, homaged or whatever in the future? Like surely by the time you got to Mars, you've got several generations tech on from that.
But the reason it's called the Galvanic Rifle is because it's playing off the idea of galvanism. Basically, when you shoot a target, when the bullet hits, it uses the chemical potential energy as a battery to create an electric shock. So it would be like if I got shot, it's using like my own body's like salts and acids and like water as a battery to then shock me.
I would have again assumed, just based on looking at the name, that it's just a rule of cool sci-fi name for like an energy weapon of some kind. But there's more thought gone into it than that.
Do you think the rear sights are evocative of the Garand or the M14 or something similar? It looks like they've been maybe raised up, but...
Oh no, that's one of the main sort of touch points. I hate that term. Like recognition features is like in a minor way this. The general kind of form factor isn't too far off. The big one is obviously the clip loading and the ping, although it's in the wrong place. And yeah, that sort of rear sight tower almost that this and the P14/P13/M1917 have, really very, very distinctive. Obviously they've turned the rear sight itself into a weird crescent shape that doesn't really make much sense as a sight. It's pretty abstracted, but I think sometimes I politely argue with people on like, well, is it really that? But this is so clearly meant to be a M1 Garand in space. So this is sort of design language of the bolters to me, but is a pump action shotgun, big and chunky.
This is the Exaction Exterminator shotgun used by the Adeptus RPTs, which are basically like cops. There's a lot of Judge Dredd inspiration. So the interesting thing about this shotgun is that it's sort of got a internal duckbill. All the shot is on a horizontal plane.
Internal duckbill sounds like something you want to get treated The shell holder on the top is fun. Like, bit weird. Although, obviously, if you have a folding stock shotgun, the shell holder that's on the stock becomes one that's on top of the weapon. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the best place for a shell holder.
That's where you keep your electric shells. So if you want to shoot, the ammunition held on top of the rail is different to the ammunition sort of on your belt.
Yeah, it's brass. They're brass hulls on the top mounted ones, and they're presumably plastic still, or red anyway, with fairly high brass. And they're obviously not just modern 12 gauge shells, but they look pretty close. But yes, you have at least a hint of a sight there, and you can't see it while you have your ammunition. Well, in fact, no, I don't think you can see it at all. Even with the shells gone, the shell holder itself seems to sit level with the front sight blade. Because
this is used by the sort of riot police, cops, law enforcement of Warhammer, a lot of their weapons are shot-based weapons for crowd control. But it means if you get like a horde running at you with this thing, you can just sort of level your weapon at sort of head height, and you just get like 20 headshots all at once. It's very satisfying to use.
That's a hell of a duck bill. Short of some kind of space magic, I'm not sure how you spread out shot horizontally from a cylindrical muzzle. So I've been a while since I played Space Marine 2. Are they sharing weapon designs in any way, or are they their own interpretations of things like bolt pistols, which is what I'm looking at the moment?
So the bolt pistol would be a scaled down sort of human scale one.
Oh, fair point. So they can have some leeway with the design details anyway.
You can have curved magazines and straight magazines, but this is a sort of, it's jumping off of an established bolt pistol design, but the main thing is it's scaled down for human use, which also means it's a smaller caliber as well, but no less devastating.
I mean, I love the idea that this is scaled down. It clearly is scaled down compared to the Space Marine scaled stuff, but at the same time, it's still enormous and apparently made of metal. It would be so heavy. Somewhat theatrical reload, slamming it in there, flipping it around. I'm still not a huge fan of the vertical magazine catches. What I think, and Space Marine 2 did this as well, they've kept completely true to the source material, well, I think, as far as I'm aware, really true to the source material, and then they thought, right, how can we introduce something that makes practical, or feels like it makes practical sense, like actual magazine catches, like even the sight attachment things, and then the muzzle device, like so they've got this cylindrical thing with two holes in the side, and they know enough about guns to go, well, you'd have blast come out those holes, wouldn't you? And it's obviously part of a recoil mitigation system or something. So that they don't just have star-shaped flash coming out of something with two ports in it. They go two big plumes out the side, and then obviously some out the front.
It must have been such an interesting challenge to take a weapon that has been on the tabletop for years in books and sort of think, how would we make this reload? How would we make this move in the hand? What muzzle flash would this have based on the miniature design? And I think it harkens to both, like it's a very well realized weapon, and there's even hints towards the sort of gyrojet nature of the munition. You get that little trail after you fire subsequent rounds. So it's all there.
Even that's the torque of the recoil there. They've obviously watched people shoot normal pistols. There's obviously, like, recoil isn't just Dirty Harry straight back and up. It's back and to the left. And then, so a big powerful pistol, it would do the same thing. So they've given it physicality. That's the thing. It's realistic to the universe it comes from, not to the real universe, because that would become boring. Like, I mean, do you have any criticisms over these weapons? Like, any compromises where it's too much like a real gun, or
not the very Warhammery weapons? There's some auto guns that feel a bit more like standard pistols, but that is also justified in the lore that it's, made by individuals, or they're scrap built, or some like the auto guns take AK inspiration or take AR-15 inspiration, but that's only because the original art and the original design took those inspirations, and Darktide is being true to those designs. So I think between Darktide and Space Marine 2, the modern Warhammer games do an exceptional job at realizing the weaponry and making them feel Warhammery, making them feel true to their own universe, like you said. We dive even deeper into the weapons of Darktide in our Patreon-exclusive Extended Edition. Join today and you'll also get instant access to next week's episode too.
So yes, we have Arnie's guns.
Since those are the first guns that really appear in the film.
Yeah, and what guns they are. Carl Weathers doing his very best.
He spent too much time pushing pencils. Becoming a patron comes with perks such as 1 week early access to videos, Discord access, and we have over 90 Patreon exclusive Director's Cut episodes from a variety of experts and much more bonus content. Either way, whether you join the Patreon or watch along on YouTube, I want to say thank you for watching, thank you for being part of this journey, and now I'll get back to the video.
These are very interesting. This is a pair of quite Mac 10 Ingram inspired, but only inspired.
So one thing that I think I should point out is the previous 3 weapons have been made on like Forge Worlds, factories, machined by, weapons manufacturers. These weapons are like craft built. They're of the Hive Scum class, inspired by the Necromunda hives. These are people that live in the dredges of the hive cities, and they sort of make their own firearms. And there's some nice details, like the sort of poor quality of the metal where pieces are broken, where other pieces have been welded on to fix them. I feel like you get a sense that these were built in a sort of shoddier manner than a lot of the other weapons.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'd say they look a bit too factory made. They definitely have a different vibe to what we've seen so far. And actually, these are actually different, aren't they? These 2 Ingram-esque machines. I see what you mean, yeah. So one's got a sling loop on the back of it, the other one, it's snapped off. Now, this has inspired me to go and pick up something from the collection that might actually have some resonance with what you're saying about maybe being either put together in a small workshop or something, or at least kept going and repaired or whatever. So this is a pattern that was made, we have a video on these actually, made in Tunbridge Wells. There were live fire guns, there were some that were deactivated, and there were blank fire guns, and there were these 2 waves of criminal armourers who were supplying organised crime groups with these Ingram submachine guns, either reactivated, deactivated ones, or converted blank firers. But they are Ingram pattern guns, except for they have Uzi pistol grips, and they take Uzi mags, and therefore have Uzi mag catches. This one looks smaller too. So for me, this is quite a nice reflection. Well, not nice necessarily. Like once they've been messed about with, they're not necessarily going to be top notch.
The reload works well with the class. It's a silly reload, but this class is someone that's stimmed and drugged up out of their minds and just running into the fray of battle. Doesn't really have any care for self-preservation or what their kit is doing as long as it works.
No, I quite like the two-handed, like the dual wheel thing, like coming up with a reload that isn't distracting in any way, albeit you can use off camera. Must be a bit of a challenge. I quite like the cocking across each other thing. Not the first time we've seen it, but the mystery becomes, well, not mystery, but you'd have to be very, very fleet of hand to get the fresh magazines in both guns. But these do look to have, now they're not being used, but they look like they have the same Uzi type mag catch at the bottom that this one does, rather than the Ingram catch at the back. But they're just ejecting their mags through sheer force of will. I don't know. This is super elaborate. Not quite sure what's going on there.
All you need to know is that it basically shoots lightning. It is charged with a loud crack, firing a bolt of blue-white electricity that can fry a man's brain or overload a war machine's circuits in seconds. And it's implied that the capacitors on the weapon were charged like millennia ago, and they're very careful to keep a charge in that weapon because it's revered. Not that really weighs too much into how it plays in the game, but I think it's cool. One detail that I was playing with some of the patrons, and they got it a little bit before I did, and they said there's a strange toggle lock on the rear of the weapon during reload. As you reload the weapon, it sort of pulls this lock under tension back.
So it's not so revered that we can't hit things in the face with it.
Well, no, it's a machine god's will.
So in this case, the cylindrical blue magazine thingy with the glowing bits on it actually is the magazine, and it is an energy weapon. Slightly confusing. Reference the Space Garand from earlier. I am still not seeing the toggle. I think I can see it now though. It looks a lot like a Luger toggle. Yeah. Oh yeah. Physically pulls it back.
Yeah, that is as if that unlocks the magazine and then it's locked back into place, maybe?
It's a toggle magazine catch. Super elaborate. Someone really liked the action of the Luger toggle. They thought, well, it's not a mechanical firearm, so how can we get it in anyway, I guess.
It's got a nice sound effect that it sort of sounds like the energy cells like re-engaging after you re-engage that toggle. Maybe it's just a mad on-off switch.
Or no, I think I like the idea that it's a super robust magazine catch with like a bar that's going through the top of the magazine to hold it in place, and then you're pulling it back and it's letting it. Although that doesn't really work because the magazine, such as a power pack, has two contacts sticking up out of it that seem to be what engage. So yeah, it's some kind of charging. Like it's maybe it's bringing the weapons contacts into contact with the magazine contacts to allow the charge to flow, the current to flow.
The character seems to require some strength to unlock the weapon, and he's doing that with robot hands. So I can't imagine in the hands of a weak, fleshy organic they'll even be able to use this thing.
Instead of a smart gun that uses fancy electronics to stop undesirables from using your gun, it just requires so much force that they can't. It's like a dumb gun rather than a smart gun. We may be overthinking this one.
I'm going to have to get...
Intruders! This blowhard orders you to your deaths. Are you so foolish as to let him? You can't get in there, Red.
So this is another of the Arbites weapons, and it comes paired with a riot shield.
That looks like a Nerf Maverick.
And this is another shot weapon as well.
It's like a Taurus Judge.
Which makes sense considering these guys are judge, jury, and executioner.
Slightly awkward reload on account of the big shield.
What's quite useful is that because the reloads are staged, you can get halfway through a reload, and if you need to pull your shield up, he's sort of holding the weapon in his shield hand, and you can continue the reload from where you left off. So as Darktide is quite a frantic game, you get to keep the utility of your shield while slowly reloading your weapon in the brief pauses of chaos that you can take advantage of.
Does the hammer move? Oh, it does move. Yeah, I just caught it there.
It's hard to tell, but yeah, especially in the speed and the chaos, but it does move.
It's double action, in theory with a single action option, but I don't think that gets used. Now, you know my feelings on charms, but if they ever made sense on guns, it's Warhammer guns. And that's a skull. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm all in. And the bullpup itself has skulls all over it too. So, pretty ideal.
We have talked about this game previously, so you've seen Lasguns before. I don't think we talked about the bullpup Lasgun. I do think the design's quite interesting because it's made for drop troopers. So these guys are supposed to be dropping in on like anti-grav parachutes, basically grav chutes. So they need a short weapon. They need their power pack to go a little further. So it's less damage, higher rate of fire. And suppression's a mechanic in the game. So this is, it gives you a high fire option if you want to play veteran.
What's a trend I think I'm noticing compared to Space Marine 2 is quite a lot of the guns in that had scopes, or at least like pseudo rails for scopes. This game seems to be very keen on its iron sights.
For a while, people have wanted weapon customization in Darktide. There's a couple of Lasguns that have sort of red dots optics, but because so much of the game is based around melee as well, and it gets so intense that you do hip fire quite a lot. But yeah, most of the weapons are do use iron sights, if sights at all. Some of the weapons are just looking over them. That's
another design challenge, I suppose, because we know what iron sights look like, and they could easily break the look of a gun if it looks like straight out of Warhammer, and then you've just got Magpul backup sights on it or something, or even if the rifle looks like the Garand, even if that had closer copies of the Garand sight, you might be a little bit kind of... The thing I'm focusing my attention on breaks the immersion of the gun being weird and from the far future. I think it's a good compromise in this case that they have designed them as part of the gun, if that makes sense. They haven't nicked them off another existing design. They're recognisably iron sights, even if their width of the rear notch is a bit questionable as far as utility. But they've put thought into designing them. They need to be there, or at least on some of the guns they do. So they've designed them their own iron sights. This is quite an agricultural looking bit of kit. Very rudimentary pistol grip. Some funky looking conventional rimless brass cased copper bulleted rounds there. Almost look like they might be open tip. But it certainly looks very Warhammery.
So this is the Heavy Stubber.
It sort of almost looks like a caricature of a 1919 Browning.
So usually these would be served by crew. You'll see these on bipods and tripods. This is in the hands of an Ogren, which is... It's many years ago since we first looked at Darktide, but these are the giant, simple-minded abhumans that are they're like 9 feet tall. So you can even see as I'm standing in front of these enemy characters, I'm like looming above them. So they're able to use like crew-served weapons as rifle or as a sidearm.
I get it now, yeah. In the gun viewer, it looks like the scale is not evident, but you can see that what look like little rifle cartridges are actually great big shells, essentially. Explains why the machine gun style link, is so chunky looking as well, because it's more like an automatic grenade launcher.
I think the weapons need to be quite simple as well, because the Ogrins aren't, even the bonehead ones aren't very bright. So the weapons need to be extra sort of foolproof to use. And they have my favourite weapon in the game, Rock.
Rock, yes.
Rock. They're just big, like a torso-sized piece of stone and hocket targets. And it's extremely effective.
That feels very on-brand for ogre-type folk. The side handle grip thing is alarmingly floppy, I will say. It bends back the other way, worries me. It's like a pillion what's-its on a motorbike. I saw Needle Pistol and thought, oh, I'm sure that's a euphemistic name. No! It's got a massive great needle on the front of it.
So in the Necromunda game, at least, needle weapons are described as having a very, very sort of low-energy laser that's surrounding a piece of solid matter. And that's the sort of poison bit. This version can do poison damage, or you switch it to a sort of explosive compound that if it builds up in the body enough, the enemy goes bang. But it's a solid projectile carried by a laser, and the laser punches through light armor so that the organic poison compound can make contact with the flesh. But seeing them pop is quite satisfying. It's gross, but it's satisfying.
Oh dear, yeah. Oh dearie me. How very inventive.
I think in lore they're more of a stealth weapon. You can hear they're quite quiet. Stealth really isn't a thing in Darktide.
Well, that does actually reinforce the point I was going to make, which is the so-called heart attack gun, the M1. Forgotten its name now, but the thing that was at the Senate committee hearing where they went, "This is a secret stealth gun that makes people have heart attacks and die." It's making me think of that, because that literally did shoot tiny little needle projectiles with some sort of toxin, allegedly to make people pass out and then wake up, but there is certainly a lethal version of that. It doesn't actually cause heart attacks, but it does administer a fast-acting poison.
Well, this doesn't cause heart attacks. It causes worse things.
Kind of a body attack, really. Yeah, that's a electrically ignited with like a flash paper propellant. So very low energy, very close range, but had a scope on it. I don't know where that's ended up. I presume it's in the CIA archive. I keep forgetting its real name because it's so commonly known as the heart attack gun. There's an excellent article on it by Mel Carpenter in the journal Armax that I helped to edit. So M1, I got its name right, but it's the descriptive name is Micro Missile Launcher. MB Associates M1 micro-missile launcher is its correct name.
Stub gun is a sort of catch-all term for like a solid projectile weapon.
Yeah, these look like something you could make with a real gun in a housing.
So one thing I noticed is between the gun on the right now that would be in the left hand, the front sight, the little mount for that has obviously been replaced.
Oh yeah, welded.
The one on the left is much rougher than the one on the right. The one on the right is still part of a larger piece. And I thought that was a nice detail to show that these are rough and ready weapons. That hammer arrangement reminds me of something. I can't quite remember what.
Well, the way it's so cocked, like almost horizontal, reminds me of the Mars pistol, because hammers normally sit at that sort of angle, not almost level. The Steyr Hahn pistol, this is somewhat reminiscent of that.
So that spin that you saw the character do is how you get a precision shot. You'll spin it on your finger for a while, and you'll get more and more accurate the longer you do it, and then you release one shot.
Interesting. Not sure of the logic. If anything, I think spinning a pistol around your finger is going to make the ultimate shot less accurate.
Don't know if it comes across in the gameplay, but it definitely felt like these were trying to evoke a high caliber pistol, like they packed a punch.
Yeah, bit of a LAR Grizzly feel, if not look, but that sort of overbuilt pistol, these feel like they might actually be like Magnum pistols that need to be that big and heavy to do their job. Obviously not bolt pistol level, but I mean, I guess Desert Eagle is the other comparison you could make, but there's no real inspiration there, I don't think. Yeah, I do. I think it's not really worth picking one up to show you. It's not that close, but there's something about the serrated lugs on the Steyr Hahn 1912 slide. If they're part of the slide, these are toggle ears that move, more like a Ruger or something. Maybe like, I don't know. They're not located in the same place. It's more the sort of chunkiness of the Steyr that I'm thinking of. Maybe the curve of the grip a bit as well. They're their own thing, really.
Thank you all for watching. Let us know in the comments what other games, movies, TV shows or beyond you would like to see on the show, and of course, subscribe. As always, a massive shout out to all of the wonderful supporters over on the EXP Patreon for supporting the channel and for allowing us to make cool content like this. Links to support Jonathan and the Royal Armouries will also be down in the description below, so make sure you check those out. But until next time, thank you again for watching, and I will see you very soon.